Alright, here's how we're going to work this answer key. I'm going to show you how to do the graphing first. If I'm going too fast, go ahead and slow me down, pause me, whatever you need to do to help understand. You should hopefully know how to do this on graphing with the calculator. Again, plug it into the calculator, going to the menu, and then going through the steps. If you have any questions about that, I'll try to put up a video. Otherwise, just ask a neighbor and maybe they should know. So I'm going to start off. First off, I need to go ahead and solve for y for the second equation. By doing that, I get y is equal to negative 1/2 x plus 1. When I do that, I go ahead and graph that with a y-intercept of 1. And then I'm going to use my slope to help me get my lines. I'm going down 1 over 2. And so that's how I got that yellow line. Okay. Going with the other one, I'm going to do that one in a different color, I believe. And that's y is equal to negative 2x minus 5. So you want to start at negative 5 and then use your slope of negative 2 over 1. That's going down 2 over 1. And that's 1 to the right. Or you could go, as you'll see, up 2 and 1 to the left. So I went down, then I started going up. And by that you can see how I got the intersection point right there. That intersection point is at negative 4 comma 3. For the second example, what I did was I went ahead and solved for y again. So I'll show you that. Y is equal to negative 1x minus 1 for the first equation, moving the x to the other side by changing the sign, and then dividing by y, which there's only nothing in front of the y, so I didn't have to worry about that. On the second one, I'm going to move the x over. It's going to become a negative x, but then I'm going to divide by negative 2y. And when I do that, I end up with y is equal to 1/2 x plus 2. So, starting with that, let's say start with a 2. I'm going from the 2 on the y. I am going to go up 1 over 2 each time, make my line, connect the dots. For the yellow one, I'm going to do the other one, the top one in yellow. I'm going to start at negative 1. And I'm going down 1 over 1 because that negative 1x means negative 1 over positive 1. So that's what you see right there. Make my lines, and I can see there's an intersection point that happens at negative 2 comma 1. So that's what you're looking for. That's how you can do graphing by hand. If you need to do it with a calculator, again, go ask a friend or send me a question through Edmodo. Okay, so now for elimination. As you can see on the first equation, the elimination is the y's are the same but different signs, so they can eliminate. So I'm going to combine these two, and I'm going to say 1x plus 1x is 2x. 15 minus 9 is 6. Then from there, all I got to do is divide by 2. So I divide by 2, I get x is equal to 3. Plug that 3 back into either equation. I'm going to put it back into the top one, so that would give me 3 plus 2y equals 15. Subtract 3. Divide by 2, and I get y is going to equal 6. So if x equals 3, y equals 6, my answer is 3 comma 6, that point. For problem 4, I'm going to go ahead, since they're different, I'm going to go ahead and eliminate the x's. So I'm going to switch the numbers, the 2 goes on top, the 4 goes on the bottom, and since they're both positive, I'll make one negative. Now multiplying all the way throughout on the top one, 2 times 4 is 8x, 2 times 2 is 4y, and 2 times 12 is 24. On the bottom, I'll go ahead and multiply and say negative 4 times 2 is negative 8x, negative 4 times 6y is negative 24y, and negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Now I can combine. That eliminates the x's. The y's will become negative 20. 4 minus 24 is negative 20. 24 plus 16 is 40. Divide, and you've got y is equal to negative 2. Put the negative 2 into one of the other equations. I'm putting it into the bottom one. That would give me 2x plus 6 times negative 2 equals negative 4. Multiply 6 times negative 2, and you've got negative 12, or minus 12. Add 12, and negative 4 plus 12 is 8. So I have 2x equals 8. Divide by 2, and x is equal to 4. So my final answer should be 4, negative 2. Substitution now. Okay, if you notice there it says y equals x plus 3. That means I'm going to put x plus 3 in place of the y. And that would give me 2x plus 4 parentheses x plus 3, close the parentheses, equals 24. Notice how the x plus 3 is now in place of the y. Distribute and you'll have 2x plus 4x plus 12 equals 24. Combine your like terms and you get 6x plus 12 equals 24. Subtract 12 and you get 6x is equal to 12. Divide by 6 and you get x is equal to 2. Take that 2, you can put it back into the top equation and say y is equal to 2 plus 3, which means y is equal to 5. So your answer is 2, 5. Okay, on the next one, notice how at the bottom equation it says x equals y plus 5. That means I'm going to put y plus 5 in place of the x. So make sure you carefully read those things. So that would be 3 parentheses y plus 5, close the parentheses, minus 2y equals 14. Distribute, you get 3y plus 15 minus 2y equals 14. Subtract 3y minus 2y, combine those two, and you get 1y plus 15 equals 14. Subtract 15 from both sides, and you get y is equal to negative 1. Then I can put the negative 1 back in place of that second equation, the one that said x is equal to y plus 5. It really doesn't matter which one, but that one's easier. And then say negative 1 plus 5 is 4, so then my answer is x equals 4, so then I would say my final answer is 4, negative 1. X is first, y is second. Okay. For the next one, solving by graphing systems of inequalities. I'm going to do the x one in red, so that gives me that vertical line, x is greater than or equal to negative 2. Notice I'm just drawing the line. These are things you can add to your note cards to remind you x in a number is a vertical line. Y in a number is a horizontal line. I do that one in the blue, and you can see there's my y is less than or equal to 1. The 1/2 x minus 2, that means I have a start at the y-intercept of negative 2, and from there I'm going to go up 1 over 2. I'm going to do that one in orange, and you can see how I drew that. The other one, I'm going to start at 3 on the y-axis, positive 3, and I'm going down 2 over 1. Make that into a fraction, so you can make that into a fraction, and I'm going to do that one in green. Starting at 3, going down 2 over 1, make a couple of dots, and then make my line. Now, the way I do this is I'm going to say draw little arrows to kind of indicate where I'm going. So like greater than on the x one, the red one, means I would be greater than would be to the right. Okay. For less than, on the blue one, you can see I've got an arrow going down because less than is below. Okay. The next one is greater than. That was the orange line. That's why I'm pointing up. And the green one is a less than. That's going down. So it should be below that green line. You can kind of see they're all converging in that one little area towards the center. So that is what I am going to shade. And that would be my final answer. Okay. Finally, we get to the word problem. On the word problem, you can read the problem about Leona owning a small business selling earrings and necklaces. The way we set it up, how do we always set it up? I'm going to say a pair of earrings is x, and the necklaces are y. So again, first two equations, x is greater than or equal to 0, y is greater than or equal to 0. Now, the next equation, I'm basing it on how long it takes to make an earrings and necklace and how much time she has to devote to those. Keep in mind there's two ways you can actually do this. I am going to show you that I did it based on the hours since it was all in hours. But keep in mind 30 minutes is half an hour. So I wrote 1/2 x plus 1y is less than or equal to 7. If you change it all to minutes, which I do have that on the answer key, so check the scan copy on the answer key in Edmodo, you can use 30x plus 60y is less than or equal to 420. You should still end up with the same x and y intercepts. So that shouldn't be a problem. But the next one also talks about how she makes at least 4 pairs of earrings a day. At least means greater than. So I have x greater than or equal to 4. So for the graphs of those, I'm going to use a scale of 1. I do get the x and y intercepts, 14 and 7, which fits into this graph that I use. So, because 7 divided by 1/2 is 14, 7 divided by 1 is 7. If you had done the other one that's on the answer key, you would still get those same answers. So since that's the those intercepts, I can go by a scale of 1. That's what I'm going to do here, and you'll see my drawings. Hopefully that you can slow that down if you need to, but basically you've got one vertical line for x0, another vertical line for x greater than or equal to 4, a horizontal line for y greater than or equal to 0, and then you have one diagonal line that gives you an x-intercept at 14, y-intercept at 7 connected. So I have to be greater, and less. I'm going to end up shaded right in there, and I'm going to have these three vertices. Those vertices are at 4, 0, 14, 0, and 4, 5. Okay, so based on those 3 points, I'm going to try to find my profit function. Now, if I read the sentence, my profit function is 3x, p is equal to 3x plus 7y. Because it's $3 for the pair of earrings, $7 for the necklaces. If I plug those the 4, 0, 14, 0, and 4, 5 into the x and y, I would get answers of 12, 42, and 47. So obviously my answer for E is the one that says if I make 4 pairs of earrings and 5 necklaces, she will make a better profit at $47. Okay. If you do have any questions on this, please let me know. Send a question through Edmodo, ask your friends, or come to tutoring in the mornings or at lunch on Friday. Any other questions? Just kind of let me know. One little surprise I'm going to put in here for y'all. See who was listening. On your note card, what I want you to write is, let's make it amusing. Just for some brownie points, and maybe I'll add a badge, which might be important later. On your note card, put, I listened to the video, I want a badge. Okay. Or, may I have a badge? Okay. So I want y'all to write, again, I listened to the video, may I have a badge? And there will be a surprise for that later on. Thank you. Hope y'all do well. Please study.